Hello everybody, this is Fastwalker and welcome back to another Black and White SU Open replay. The round 2 replays just got put out, so I'm going to go ahead and finish these two and release them. So today we have re-recording. There was some weird artifacting on this the first time. So we have a matchup between Lilithplays and Blue Hussy, aka Zpice. These two, both SU regulars, play each other regularly. It is a little unfortunate they're playing in round 1, but you know we're going to get a good set from these two. And looking at the team preview, we have got some slow breakers on Zpice's team. We got the Octillery, the Beartech, and then we have potential paralysis spreaders and Chimecho and Lopunny, and then sort of a bulky core and Gloom Pupitar. And Lilith sort of running a pretty slow balanced team with the Spinner and Drillbur, and then sort of a bulky duo and Gloom and Corsola to support things. So let's run it. And we're going to see a Corsola versus Beartech lead. Corsola Toxicking, but a surprise Focus Punch going to one-shot that Corsola. Is going to get hit with a Rocky Helmet, but that is a massive hit for Lilith, especially because you're not going to be able to get these rocks unless you have it double rocked, so slotted on Drillbur. And it looks like we're looking at Lopunny versus Chimecho. Chimecho probably going to sit on this a little bit, and is going to hit a Side Shock on the Pupitar, which appears to be defensively invested. Gonna surprise him with the Energy Ball, but Pupitar actually tanking that and gonna set rocks here before swapping out to Chimecho. We're gonna see Calm Mind, and unless Zpice... Okay, Zpice does have Calm Mind, but unless they've got the Psyshock, this is still gonna be favored for Lilith, so very threatening situation considering this. And we're just gonna see some boosting up, see what happens. We got the Psychic versus Psyshock, and yeah, see... We see the crit, but even without the crit, it's 20%, it's 40%. So about double going in for Lilith, and it only gets higher the more boosts they do, but it seems like they are staying at +4. Okay, now Lilith going to boost to +6 here, I assume. That's going to outdamage Recover, which is huge. So basically, Zspice hoping for the crit, otherwise this is going to be a dead Chimecho, or whatever else you swap in on it. Yeah, Psyshock doing 55, going to 2-shot through leftovers. Zpice choosing to get a little bit more damage. Chimecho now at 75, potentially in kill range for something. Or at the very least, going to get heavily damaged by Lopunny. Okay. We don't see a recover, so this Chimecho is going to get neutralized following this by something fast, like a Beartech. Yes, that is not a speed-invested Chimecho. And Beartech is back in. Vanillix is going to be able to come in and take a kill with a Flash Cannon, but this is a good entry point for Octillery or for Gloom. Okay, Zpice chooses the Octillery, and Octillery probably going to hit a nice water move. And a huge burn on the Seviper, especially if the Seviper happens to be physical attacking. Going to protect to stall more Scald damage, very smart. And then are we going to see a swap? We're going to see a swap to the Gloom now that we know that it's a physical Seviper. And I think the biggest issue for Zpice at this point is definitely going to be the Vanillix. Though I do think Vanillix will have trouble, especially if it's choiced, in terms of dealing with all three, because you need that Flash Cannon to deal with Beartech, and then you need the Ice Beam to deal with Gloom, and then Octillery walls both. Okay. Drillbur comes in, is going to get the spin off, but also going to get heavily chunked by that Gloom. And probably just going to go for some damage with Earthquake. Yeah, and the problem with Drillbur is it is very, very weak to Gloom. You need a lot of attack power on it, but you also want bulk. It's difficult to run. We do see Vanillix come in. It's not going to be able to two-shot the Octillery, and Octillery lands a Thunder Wave, which I think might be Cardin's from here. Beartech's going to outspeed both Mons. It's going to, if it gets an opportunity to SD, that is a very easy, that's a very easy sweep. And it does appear that this is... Okay, it is not choice. It's Ice Gem. But again, at this point, Vanillix chipped into range of a Beartech return, and Beartech is probably just going to be able to Icicle Crash this into Oblivion. Okay, we see the switch to Octillery. Likely maybe trying to outrun. Okay, hits the Thunder Wave. And that's just going to improve the odds for Paraflinch. Though I don't know how I feel about that necessarily, because I think I would rather have Octillery hit him with an Ice Beam or something. Though maybe that's a scald HP Grass. Regardless, gonna get the flinch, and Zpice take a game 1. Moving on to game 2, we are going to see what looks like a pretty bulky team from Zpice. Though you do have the offensive duo of Plusle and Firo, providing Volt Switch support. Also has an uncommon pick here in Wailord, very bulky, might be running Pressure. Meanwhile, Lilith is running what looks to be a fairly offensive lineup with the Stantler as a wall breaker, has a Water Absorb rocker, which might be difficult for the Wailord and the Corsola to break through, but we'll see. And then a Magmar, which I think is going to be pretty neutralized by the Wailord. Okay. We got Palpitoad versus Firo. Palpitoad likely going to take this opportunity to get rocks, as we see a U-turn. Yes. Magmar in on the Gloom, and we're likely going to see the Wailord come out. Yes. And let's see if Lilith has any techs for this. We do see the sub. Sub protect, and this is the strength of Wailord, just being able to sort of sit here with pressure, wear down, stall out heal moves, stall out stuff like that. And it's extremely bulky just because of its HP stat. Okay, Palpitoad is going to be able to get back in. I think a Toxic would be great, but also the problem is Gloom can come in. We do see a smart double from Lilith going to go into Luxray. That covers for Gloom because you can Volt Switch out on it pretty easily and get in Magmar. But we're going to see Sandy come out. Great Luxray check, and one of the best in the game, especially among rock setters. Toxic's the Gloom. We do see an uncommon set here, the Swords Dance Gloom, which I think could easily be threatening to this team. The biggest problem is, of course, the opposing Gloom, resisting both Seed Bomb and Poison Jab, which are going to be SD Gloom's stabs. The best option I think you have to hit it is Return. Gloom's physical move pool, not very strong. You're mainly using this as sort of a very bulky setter who can sort of accrue multiple boosts. And it looks like Lilith going to take their chances on the opposing Gloom, setting up to +3, going to be able to meet. Yeah. And are we going to see a Synthesis here? We do. Okay, but a very smart switch to basically force that Synthesis and then switch to Plusle. If Lilith wants to break through, they're going to have to basically predict that and hit Plusle on the switch. But once that happens, I think it's going to be difficult to stop. Okay. Yeah, and Wailord easily subbing up on this Palpitoad. And going to be able to get a ton of leftovers healing. Ice Beaming here as Sludge Bomb finally fades. And are we going to see a switch to Luxray? We are. And we see the double. We do not. We just see another sub, which is smart. Yeah, see the Protect on that Volt switch. And then the problem is Wormadam could come right back in. And so this is now almost like a 50-50 mind game, which is pretty heavily in favor of Zpice. Stantler comes in. Are we going to see... Okay, we're going to see Gloom as a physical wall. And if this is a special Stantler, it could get some good mileage, but it doesn't appear to be, as we do see Magmar come back in. Wailord, are you going to catch the switch with a HP Grass? No, you are subbing again. That is really bad. It's going to give Wailord a lot more to work with, and this Magmar is pretty close to dead at this point. Yeah, going to do a lot of damage to Wailord, which is good, and there's no Wish Passer, so no way for Wailord to get a lot of its health back quickly. But we do see, regardless, Wailord getting up to 50%. Okay, I'm going to trade most of Wailord's HP for a Scald. That's a reasonable move, though I do think it matches up really well into something like a Lunatone. So, I don't necessarily agree. But, regardless, it's more than done its job. It spent a lot of passive damage on guys like Stantler, on guys like Magmar, which was otherwise a big threat. Okay, and Zpice finally going to set rocks. This is going to do a lot more to put Lilith on a timer. And it looks like Zpice trading a lot of Wormadam's health for some damage on Luxray. Luxray is going to be able to 3-shot this. Let's see. Actually hits the double protect. That's crazy. Um, okay. But Lilith is going to get the high roll to kill the Wormadam regardless. And we do see a frustration here from the Fearow. An offensive enough Lunatone could actually break through this Corsola. And yes, we do see the Psychic Gem come out from Lunatone. Lunatone, very versatile Pokemon, can run rocks, be defensive, or can go offensive. And I really like it as an offensive rocker. Especially considering the variance in gems that it can run. Interesting that we see a switch to Stantler, likely wanting to keep Lunatone safe here. Oh shoot, hold on. Okay, we are going to see a synthesis from that. Apologies on that, I got a call. Okay, and while I was looking away, Plusle is setting itself up for a very scary sweep. We are going to respect the Sucker Punch. It did not come out. This is great for when Plusle comes back in, though I don't know if Plusle is going to be able to set another Nasty Plot. And Gloom is going to be able to completely wall this Stantler. Absolutely brutal. Are we going to see... No, okay. Zpice covering for the Sap Sipper. Very smart. Gee, was this Intimidate? I think it was Sap Sipper. Okay. But we do see Swords Dance Gloom. This is the last hope for Lilith, especially considering... Okay, maybe it's not the last hope for Gloom. I believe Fear are going to be able to come in, kill with a Drill Peck. Yeah. And going to go ahead and just sweep through the rest of this team. Killing Lunatone through the resist, killing Palpitoad, killing Gloom. And that is a clean win for Zpice. Going to move on to round 2, Lilith in losers. Alright. Have a good one.